Welcome everyone, I'm AJ Barce. I'm one of your instructional technologists here at Western. You can find me on the second floor of Haggard Hall, right behind the Student Technology Center in Haggard Hall 225. And be sure to stop by the Student Tech Center on the second floor. We're open Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. And we're here to help you with any technology concerns, or if you need workshops like this one. We have all of our workshops available online at stc.wwu.edu, and you can sign up for them. They're free. For this workshop, what we're going to do is look at setting up with your WordPress for Western account. Now, WordPress for Western is simply a WordPress installation that you're able to run and install while you're here at Western, and it's free. And you can have as many of them as you want. So for instance, let's say you have a faculty that is requiring you to make a website. You can spin one up for that class. You can set up your personal portfolio or professional portfolio, maybe that thing before you decide to leave Western. And it's easy. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do it. So the first thing we need to do is go to wp.wwu.edu. And when you're here, this stands for wordpress.western.edu. And you'll notice that we have three big buttons. Red button, create your blog. This is where we're going to start today if you've never been on our service before. Request a site. This is for those on campus who maybe you're part of a department and you're looking at spinning up a WordPress site for your department. This will walk you through those steps. And if you're returning back after you've pushed the big red button or green button, the big blue button is to log in and get to the sites that you already have or you've been added to. So for this, what we're going to do is start with the big red button. And when we do, you'll notice that we get this prompt that says you must log in first. Go ahead and click where it says log in. Now, once you get passed through, it'll take a couple of seconds. And what it'll do is bring you to our self-service portal to sign up for your website. What we're going to look at is these four areas. It's really quick and easy, and I'm going to show you where to go. So on site name, you'll notice that everybody here at Western gets wp.wwu.edu/. That is the domain of your site while you're here at Western. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and put in a domain. So the domain name or site name is where your site lives. I usually tell people to start with their username. So for instance, mine's Barce A, and that's just because whatever your username is unique to you. If you use just your first and last name, which is my second go-to, but perhaps somebody else before you has had your name. So it's always, it's always best to kind of either go with your first and last name or your username. What you're not able to do is put things like special characters like periods, dashes, capitalizations, or anything like that, because it's the internet. The internet hates that kind of thing. So what we're going to do for the intents of this workshop, what I'm going to do is just use my username, Barce A. Site title is different than your site name. Site name is the URL, the thing that goes across the top in your web browser. And once you pick this, by the way, it's yours. It's yours for as long as you're here at Western. The only way that you're able to change your site name is if you delete your site and copy it over to a new one. So just keep that in mind. Whatever you pick, and if you get started with it, be sure it's something that you want to keep, not something weird like Star Lord Kitten, which I used to have. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's change that back to something a little bit more professional. Barce A. Site title, on the other hand, this you can change. This is just the title across your website. I could call this AJ Barce, perhaps my credentials. And again, site title we can change, site name we can't. Site language, we have a lot of the preset language packs that are built into WordPress. If English is not your native language, this might help you interface with WordPress in building your website. There's quite a few. The common question I get is, if you select your site language, does that translate your site? No, that would be magic. It'd be really cool magic, but no, this only changes the interface, this black bar that we're going to see across the top as we're building our site. Your content, if you write it in that language, stays in that language. I'm going to prefer English for mine, and for privacy, you'll notice by default it says here only registered users will have access to your site. And this is for a multitude of reasons. The first and foremost is that as you're creating a website, perhaps you don't want the big Google, Bing, Facebook, and all that other jazz crawling your site and presenting your site before it's really ready for prime time. And so we put this on by default so that you have a level of privacy to kind of experiment in the sandbox of building your website without accidentally having a meme that you're using as a sample post show up on the internet. What I usually encourage people to do is go one step further. Let's go to only admins can visit your site. And this really only allows for you and whoever else you add to your site as an administrator So perhaps you're doing this as a group project. This is a way of being able to invite that person to your site, but they'll only have access to it if you specify they're an admin. And I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit. But also, basically, this allows for the least amount of eyes to be able to see your site as you're developing it. When you're getting ready to go public, though, what you'll do is change this privacy setting to public or search engine blocked. And this is the more common way of putting out your actual website, this wp.wwu.edu/ in my case /A, so that anybody can see it. I'll show you how to do this at the end, because I usually encourage people build within a sandbox, then make public later. The other option that you have is visitors must have login, and this is really good if you're doing a class site. So for instance, let's say you're building a site for an English 101 course, and you want it to be available for people here at Western, but you don't want everybody on the web to be able to see it. Well, that's what this will allow you to do. Visitors must have login specifies that you have taken a person who is in the Western community, or anybody in the Western community, and grant them access to your site for visibility sake. So if somebody outside of Western who doesn't have a login, if they went to your site, they'd be prompted to log in using their Western credentials, and if they didn't, they wouldn't be able to see your site. Anyone else, perhaps everyone else in your class who already has Western credentials and is on WordPress for Western, if they're already logged in, they'll be able to access your site. So this is a nice in-between of public and private. This is kind of the middle ground, which is why it's in the middle. So for this workshop, I'm going to go ahead and say only admins can visit this site. Big red button that says create site. And you'll notice, hey, sorry, that site exists because I already own it. And I knew that going in, but I wanted to showcase this because if you ever do anything in your site name, this is usually the part that will always kind of bind people up when they first get started. This is where you're going to have to kind of really start to figure out how you're going to do your site so that you can figure out what does exist and what doesn't already exist on our service. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a name that already works. Congratulations, we've allowed your site and the site name, which is what I picked, and the site URL, which is also what I picked, and you can just click login to pass you through.